We begin with the latest on Donald Trump's criminal hush money trial. Adult film actress Stormy Daniels will testify today, two sources tell NBC News. This comes as yesterday, the judge threatened the former president the possibility of jail time if he violates his gag order again. It comes as prosecutors expect to finish presenting their case in about 2 weeks. NBC News senior legal correspondent Laura Jarrett reports.
This morning, tensions rising at Donald Trump's hush money cover-up trial as the former president is held in criminal contempt for now the 10th time. Mr. Trump forced to pay another $1,000 fine soon, this time because he criticized the jury. While the judge gave the presumptive GOP nominee his sharpest warning yet, threatening jail time if Mr. Trump continues to break the gag order, barring attacks on witnesses and jurors. Judge Juan Merchan saying he understood the magnitude of such a decision, adding, "The last thing I want to do is put you in jail. You are the former president of the United States and possibly the next president. But at the end of the day, I have a job to do."
Our Constitution is much more important than jail. It's not even close. I'll do that sacrifice any day.
This as the state pivots away from the more salacious evidence of the alleged effort to bury stories that could have damaged Mr. Trump's chances at the presidency by paying women hush money, which he denies. Now to the more granular details of the charges he actually faces for allegedly doctoring his internal books to cover up how he reimbursed Michael Cohen, his former fixer who paid off a porn star days before the 2016 election.
Mr. Trump, is Michael Cohen a liar? I have a gag order. I'm not allowed to answer that question. This has never happened in this country before.
Two longtime Trump Organization employees on the stand Monday, walking the jury through Cohen's invoices. Checks Mr. Trump signed repaying Cohen in monthly installments, and internal ledger entries for, quote, legal expenses, all created under a phony retainer agreement prosecutors say was done to cover up the true reason for the repayments. While on cross-examination, Mr. Trump's defense team sought to emphasize neither witness can directly tie Mr. Trump to how the repayments were recorded.
Laura Jarrett reporting for us there, and joining us now here on set in New York is MSNBC legal analyst Danny Savallo. So, Danny, this news just crossing the wires. Thanks for swooping in here and sitting down with us. That Stormy Daniels, according to her attorney, will in fact testify in this criminal hush money case. Obviously, we know her significance to the larger story here. But how significant a prosecution witness might she be in this case?
That's the question. She's significant in terms of star factor. We're all interested to hear what she has to say. But I've been saying in recent days, I'm not even that sure that the prosecution would need Stormy Daniels from an evidence perspective, because they've got all elements of the transaction, the Michael Cohen payment to Stormy Daniels, and now yesterday, a lot of the reimbursement to Michael Cohen for that payment to Stormy Daniels. So they got a lot of the testimony I think they needed from Keith Davidson about that transaction to Stormy Daniels. Obviously, Daniels is not even involved in the reimbursement to Cohen from Trump. That's the evidence they put on yesterday. So in terms of splash factor, huge today. Everybody wants to hear what Stormy Daniels will say. And frankly, I think she represents something of a risk to the prosecution. They don't have a ton of control over her, so they must be concerned. And I'm rather surprised they didn't try to get all the evidence they needed without having to call Stormy Daniels. But if they wanted to make a mark, the people, they're going to make it today, because this is certainly a witness that everybody wants to hear from.
So Donald Trump posted a moment ago on Truth Social, and then I'm told quickly took it down. Not a direct attack on Stormy Daniels by name, but an attack on the court, because he says his attorneys weren't told that she was coming today and that they were blindsided by this. Does any of that add up to you?
You mean in terms of will the prosecution make a motion that he violated the gag order? Yeah, I think they might.
It a surprise to the prosecution? Is that, I mean, that Stormy Daniels would show up today? Do they have to announce ahead of time that she'd be there today? The former president seems upset that she's there today. For
ordinarily, yes. Ordinarily, as a matter of civility, the prosecution lets the defense know in advance who's on the list and in what order. In this case, they haven't done that because of the concern that Donald Trump would oh, I don't know, go to social media and attack some of the witnesses. And here it seems like he's already leaning that way. So the prosecution in this case has withheld the exact order, and Donald Trump is obviously complaining about that. He's got a point on some level. Usually defendants have an idea who's coming next. But at the same time, the reason that he isn't given a list in advance is because of what he's done on social media. So he has himself to blame for that problem that his defense attorneys now face. By the way, as a defense attorney, very sympathetic to defense counsel and all the problems that the client is creating for them, not the least of which is having to do gag order violation hearings in the first place, when I'm sure defense counsel would much rather be preparing for trial.
And a reminder that Judge Merchan floated the possibility in an order yesterday. He said, I don't want to send you to jail, former President Donald Trump, but I will. Please stop violating the gag order, perhaps by